Wait, what about weird? Hi, I'm Elena.
And I'm Echo.
And this is What About Weird, a podcast dissecting all things weird from cryptids and aliens to strange science and unhinged history. This week, I have once again dug into sports, put my nose where it doesn't belong, and dug into sports. We all know I know nothing about sports. But what do you know about football?
Nothing.
Cool.
Absolutely
Me neither.
Nothing.
It's not going to play a big part in this. Established in 1842 by Edward Sorin, a French-born Catholic priest and Congregation of the Holy Cross, and an accidental Rasputin impersonator. I need to show you I need to show you a picture of this man. But let me finish what I have here. But the University of Notre Dame is known for their business and economics program, as well as their football team, started in 1887, the Fighting Irish, which I will say...
That's the name of the football team?
The Fighting Irish.
Because they're all Irish? Or they're fighting the Irish?
That is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Because if you are anything like me, you may be wondering, how did a school started by a Frenchman named after a French cathedral get associated with the Irish?
Yeah.
First, let me show you a picture of this man before I forget.
Wow, it is kind of Rasputin-esque.
Yeah, it was Rasputin before Rasputin. Like, he's got the...
Are there no
wizardy...
younger photos of him?
That's the one younger photo of him.
Okay, well, he doesn't look like Rasputin as a younger man, but he
Yeah.
does when he's older, that's for sure.
So, the University of Notre Dame, not to be confused with Notre Dame College, which has since closed down and was in Ohio. The University of Notre Dame is in South Bend, Indiana, which is just south of the Michigan border. I think we passed through South Bend on our trip. Maybe?
I remember seeing signs for it.
So yeah, today we're going to be talking about why Notre Dame is called the Fighting Irish. I know I've talked to you a little bit about this, but
yes.
If I hadn't have told you anything, what would you have thought? Just that
were they called the Fighting Irish?
Yeah.
God, I don't know. Because what would be a good reason for that? Just, I would assume that they had, like, some Irishmen join their football team, and they were just so good, like, such good players, that they were just like, that's it, we're naming our team the Fighting Irish, because Billy here, and I don't know any good Irish names.
Billy O'Malley.
Yeah, something like that. And Donnie Donahue over here. They're such good footballers, so we're just going to start calling our team the Fighting Irish or something.
I mean, there are some Irish football players involved in this story.
Okay.
I had always thought it was just because, Irish Catholics, and there's a bunch of Irish people in the area.
Okay.
Which it is actually somewhat to do with that, but the whole story is a lot more interesting. So since the university started, there's a growing amount of Irish immigrants in the United States, and these Irish immigrants were predominantly Catholic, but they were seen as, rowdy drunks taking over the workforce, committing crimes, and spreading their Catholic heresy and hedonism all over, which, yay, anti-immigration.
Oh, no, they hated the Irish when they came over.
Take a drink every time something I say today sounds familiar.
Oh, God.
Because we have not gone very far. So, since Notre Dame was a Catholic school, it naturally drew a lot of children of these immigrants looking to further their education, with an estimated 60 to 70% of the student body being of Irish descent in the early 1900s. Despite the existence of a Catholic school in the area, outside of that, it was mainly with Protestants with Germanic and Scandinavian or English descent, and it had been for generations. So this huge influx, since the school started, of Irish Catholic immigrants coming in, really got a lot of, there's a lot of hate towards Irish immigrants and stuff, and, more and more people came in. The more and more people came in, more and more people that had been there for generations were getting upset about it. And by the 1920s, the desire for higher education coupled with the post-war economic boom meant that more and more young people were eager and able to go to college or universities, And this further increased the amount of previously poor Irish students at the school. The anti-Irish, anti-Catholic sentiment came to a head in the city of South Bend in 1924. On a spring morning, I believe it was May, but I think my dumbass forgot to write it down, of 1924, there was a group of Klansmen that could be seen directing traffic in their like hooded robes and stuff in front of their headquarters.
Did the Klansmen not like the Irish too?
Yes.
Was that okay?
Yeah, it was less so. It was somewhat that they were immigrants, and because there were all these stereotypes, which I never understood that. But it has less. I'm going to get into it later, but it has less to do with the fact that they're Irish and more to do with the fact that they are Catholic and that they are immigrants, because most Klansmen were Protestants.
Oh my god, the Catholic versus like Protestant thing was like is such a huge deal in Ireland. It was a huge deal in Ireland. Feel like it is to a lesser extent now. I don't know if anyone is like from Ireland. Is there still like Catholic versus Protestant issues?
I mean, there's still Catholic versus Protestant issues in America.
That's true. Because like I know I was in Ireland for a month, and I mean just the entire history that I learned there was basically like, hey, Catholic versus Protestant, and it's wild to me that like you're part of the same fucking religion. There's just like minor differences. Like you both believe in like God and Jesus Christ. Why are we so crazy about the particulars? I just don't get it. Like they're the same fucking religion.
Yeah. I know we have a bunch of like super religious people, like people that were raised super religious that are no longer, that listen to our podcast. So like if any of you guys could write us and explain that, because I don't understand that either.
I just never understand why it was such a big deal, because like, okay, I understand to some extent why if you were a Christian you dislike people that are non-Christian because you don't believe in the same God. It's like, okay, still shitty, but I kind of get it. But, like, to believe in the same God and mostly the same thing, but to just have, like, very specific differences that make you fucking hate each other, I don't get it.
I mean, I know part of it, at least with, like, Lutherans versus Catholics, because I do have some Lutheran family. It's, like, the Catholics were seen as, like, oh, you guys are doing all that, you and your hedonism, your Catholic hedonism, you know, always drinking all your wine and
I think
all that stuff. But
the main difference is how much authority the Pope has, and a little bit differences in like how they interpret the salvation aspects, and
like, where does your religious guidance come from? Is it coming from your understanding of the Bible, or is it coming, like you said, from the Pope? Yeah, so there was a bunch of hooded Klansmen in front of their headquarters on the corner of Michigan and Wayne Street, and so these Klansmen are directing traffic, and at the time, the Klan was a lot more, like, open and less sort of secretive about stuff, and it was a lot more of part of the community at the time. Like, there were women and children divisions of the KKK, but at the time, it was also very common for the Klan to hang out in robes at, like, we're going to do a little picnic, and we're all going to be on our robes, or we're going to direct traffic, or we're going to just existing in the community in their robes as, like, a show of, like, passive intimidation of, like, hey, just so you know, we're here, and this is our belief, and, like, if you don't like that, get out. We're going to be upfront about it.
Yeah, we're going to be upfront about the fact that we're, like, massive racist pieces of shit. FYI.
Yeah, it's crazy, like, learning this, and I'm like, wow, that's wild to me. And then I was like, well, folks in red hats are very similar.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into even more ways that they're similar. I was losing my mind researching this episode because there was so much stuff that I recognized from right now, and I almost chucked my computer into the woods. Yeah, so they're directing traffic because they had on this day, they were doing a 3-day, like, rally meeting thing for most of the Klan in northern Indiana. And this was in South Bend, which is the same town that Notre Dame is in. And a bunch of Irish immigrant students just decided, okay, we don't want this in our community. So they ran up to them and started just beating the shit out of them and ripping off their robes and, like, just insulting them. And they just, like, ran up and just started beating the shit out of these guys.
I mean, fair. Honestly, fair.
Yeah, and I respect it. So for the next 2 days, it was just Irish immigrant students versus Klansmen. They are just beating the shit out of each other, brawling in the streets for like 2 days straight. It's just going back and forth, back and forth. And this was seen almost like a small scale holy war, because it was like Protestants versus Catholics. And the Klansmen would meet up in their claverns or their local units, read racist clubhouse. And which, first off, claverns, shut up.
That's a terrible name.
It's a stupid ass name. I'm sorry. But they would meet up to write propaganda and like try and spread the word about like, hey, look at all these rowdy Irishmen. See, aren't they leaning into the stereotypes and being... And so they're like writing these newspapers, and it was a lot of like resources, first person contemporary resources from this time were written by the Klan, so it was really hard for me to find information because it was all propaganda. It was all Klan propaganda. It's a whole thing, and I'll sort of get into it later, but this did really help discourage Klan presence in the area, and it really, like, this mentality and the fear of getting the shit kicked out of them did really push the Klan back into the shadows again. After the civil... Let's talk a little bit about history of the Klan. I'm not going to get too much into it, but a lot of people know that the Klan exists. They still exist. They've existed for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I don't think a lot of people really know too much about them and like how they started and the different waves of the Ku Klux Klan movement. So the first Klan, what's often considered the first wave of the Ku Klux Klan, started just after the Civil War, but then it slowly petered out around the turn of the century. But it came back with a vengeance in the late 1910s, and this was because of the movie, it was the first big budget movie, Birth of a Nation, which, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a super awful racist movie, and the president at the time, who I don't remember who that was off the top of my head, played it in the White House. But this really sparked a lot of fear and is a lot of racist fear, and it really kicked up Klan activity again, and this is where the second wave of the Klan came about, and that's sort of what led us to this situation in 1924 of more and more growing Klan activity and anti-foreigner, anti-people of color, like, mentality as it grew. So over the years, local and national tension between Catholics and Protestants, it had been growing, and the Klansmen in this area really feared an attack from Catholics on what they believed was proper American ideals. And this wasn't just a religious thing, it was political. It was because of the different denominations of Christianity have different viewpoints of how to go about stuff. The Klan feared that this would mean that they would lose political power, and they had their fingers in everything in Indiana at the time. I know we've talked briefly about the fact that the Klan was in Indiana when we covered Jim Jones, because his dad was in the Klan, but it was actually, at the time, Indiana was the like heart and center of the Ku Klux Klan at this time. Most people in local government were either actively in the Klan or sympathetic to them, and most Republicans at the time were members of the Klan. And it went so far as getting the governor of Indiana elected, who was known to be sympathetic to the Klan's cause and would let, like, Klansmen that got in legal trouble off easier than people who weren't in the Klan or didn't line up with that. Well, there's no proof that this governor, Ed Jackson, was a Klan's member. It's very, very heavily leaning towards this. Mm-hmm. But so it went all the way up to the governor of Indiana, and like all these levels of local government and regional government were like, because of the Klan, they really dominated stuff, and they were a huge, huge political powerhouse at the time in the area. And this huge influx of Catholic immigration really threatened to overturn that, because now there were more people that had different ideas of, like, how they should be treated, how different people should be treated, how things need to be dealt with. Like, and they were just really afraid that the people they had put in power would get voted out. So Reverend Arthur Hope, author of Notre Dame 100 Years, put it really well when he was writing that book. He said that the impetus from which arose this intolerance was not intolerance itself, but a shrewd calculating resolution on the part of men who knew better to play on the ignorance and bigotry of the masses who do not, we believe, know better. It was a campaign for hate for the purpose of raising money. And if that doesn't sound familiar, then I don't know what will.
Yeah.
So the Klan at this time had shifted their sort of how they wanted to present themselves, especially in more northern states. They were trying to get rid of this idea of the displaced, rural, uneducated Southerner. They were trying to paint themselves as, oh, we're intelligent, we're scholars, we know better, and because you can trust us on all these things because we know better. We're not, just angry people that are angry after losing the Civil War. See, we're Northerners and we're smart, and so they're really trying to. This second wave, especially of the Klan movement, was really trying to push this, like, we're intellectuals doing this,
and yet the college students are the ones beating them up. Like, I know, there's a little bit of disconnect there.
Yeah, I know. It's. But this was before the college students were beating them up. In the South, they used to do, with the first wave of the Klan, they would do, night raids and try and drive people out. But the Klan in the North, instead of driving out people that were already there, their tactic was just to sort of close the walls and not really let anybody into the community and basically bully them out instead of actively drive them out. So they were trying to, present themselves as, instead of radical, as, we're the logical people. We're not violent radicals from the South. We're intellectuals. We have brotherhood and family. See, we have kids, that's when they started the kids groups of stuff, of trying to make it more of a community thing, and rather than just
I feel that doesn't make it any better.
Rebel group. No, I don't think it does either.
They're we have community. I'm like, okay, I don't see how that makes it any fucking better. But they're trying to draw people in
through this community, which also sounds so familiar. And they're trying to portray themselves as the last defenders of true Americanism.
Oh my God.
And calling themselves patriotic reformers. And they said that they were trying to improve the lives of those that were true 100% Americans, aka not African Americans, not Jews, not immigrants, not Catholics.
None of these people are actual fucking Americans, because they're not even from this goddamn fucking continent. They literally, their ancestors came over from other places. So shut the fuck up.
Here's your problem. You're thinking about it and you're not racist.
This whole thing about, being a true American, being a true patriot, that doesn't exist. That literally doesn't fucking exist unless you are an actual Native American. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's, you can see why I was spiraling researching this episode, because
Because everyone here is a fucking immigrant. Yeah, every single one of these motherfuckers that thinks they're a true-blooded American.
It's always the whitest motherfucker you've ever met that's like, I'm 100% true American, and it's like...
It's like, oh yeah, but you're fucking, like, a couple generations removed. Your family fucking came over from, like, England or Ireland or France or something. So no, you're not. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it's,
They piss me off so bad. Like, that whole mentality pisses me off so bad.
It's sickening to me. The Klan with the officers that were in charge of, like, the Klan officers that were in charge of recruiting more people were trying to sell themselves as, like, we're the solution to all of this. Like, all this bad stuff that's been going on, we're the solution. And you know how things have been getting better lately since after the war? Well, it's because of us. It's not because of, war as a profiteering system. No, it's because we are what's making everything better. But there was a lot of in the area, there was a lot of, anti-Catholic stuff, which I keep saying. But particularly Notre Dame was seen as a, quote, anti-Kluxer stronghold. And they're like, there's too many Irish people here. We're going to, like, and they were trying for a while to, like, get the school to shut down or drive the school out or just close it down. And initially, when the school was started, Edward Soren was trying to... Like, he was sent out to Indiana to start a school because his superiors were like, you asked too many questions. Just go out there, start a school, whatever. Because they didn't want to deal with him, and they thought he would actually fail, but he didn't, which is, good for him. But when he was sent out there to start a Catholic school in a non-Catholic area because they're like, they need Catholicism. So even from when the school was started, it was like, it was already a whole controversial thing. And, like, ever since, 1847? They had 1842.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, anti-Catholic people were trying to get it shut down. And then the Klan came around post-Civil War and were really trying to get it shut down. And just all that broiling up and this fear of the changing politics is really what led to this. And the students just got so fed up with just trying to live their lives and feeling like they couldn't go off campus because everyone around them was so anti-Catholic that it just all came to a head when they saw all these Klansmen coming to this 3-day rally, and that's when they just snapped. And it was about 500 University of Notre Dame students that showed up, and they just started storming downtown. And as more and more Klansmen came into South Bend for this rally, and also to provide, like, assistance and show force in numbers, the students were, like, ripping them off of the trains as they saw them coming in. And, like, these Klansmen were, like, getting off of buses. And from what I understand, they were, like, traveling in their Klan robes. From what I understand. Which, like, that's a choice. They're going to step off the buses, and, like, all these Irish students come and rip them off the bus and, like, chuck them to the ground and start kicking them in their head. And the students eventually would chase all the Klan and trap them into their... At one point, they had them trapped in the in their little racist clubhouse. I'm not going to call it a clavern because that's fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
I like racist clubhouse so much better.
That's what it is. And the students are taking, like, bits of the Klan robes and the hoods and stuff as, like, war trophies. Which I love. So it's just, like, back and forth for 2 days of, like, we're going to cat and mouse, we're going to chase them in, and then they come out and they go in and out. But at one point when the students were, or not, when the Klan was out of their headquarters, most of them were because the students had chased all of them back to their houses, and all the Klansmen had gone home because they're like, I'm trying to defend my house. I'm going to defend my family here. The students stormed their little clubhouse, their silly little stupid clubhouse, and were breaking shit, and the headquarters was over a grocery store, and the students started throwing vegetables in through the windows. And I love this bit. There was a barrel of potatoes, and they're like, these are good and hard, so they're chucking them through the window, breaking the windows with these potatoes. And there was a lit up fiery cross, like not actively burning, but it was like made of light bulbs to look like a fiery burning cross in one of the windows. And they're chucking these potatoes through the window, trying to break all the bulbs on this like lit up cross. And the students managed to break all but the one at the very top. And they call in the star quarterback from the football team. They give this man a potato, this extraordinarily buff Irish guy, a potato, and he lobs it as hard as he can, and he hits the last light, and everyone just breaks out in cheers.
That's amazing.
Like, this is the biggest victory, and it like shoots sparks all over the place. And some sources said there were some fires from that. Some sources didn't say anything about that, so I don't know how much about that. But they like shattered this fiery cross with potatoes. And it's great because later on, when all the news of this broke, the school was really trying to like hide the whole potato chucking situation, because they're like, that's so embarrassing and it's so stereotypical.
Yeah, it's like the Irish are throwing potatoes.
Yeah, and they're trying to hide it, but the students were very like, yeah, you know what? Fuck him. We're going to use this symbol of stereotype and turn it around violently against you.
Like, this is the students proof were so of, like, I'm proud to be Irish. Here's proof of my heritage. Fuck you.
With a violent flung potato.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I love that. And the students were way into it, but the school was like, this is embarrassing. It's leaning into stereotypes. This is just going to make everything all worse and you know. But that's my favorite part of this, because he just chucks it. So the students rushed a office nearby, and they're going up the stairs, and there was they were going up the stairs of this office building, and a Baptist preacher who was part of the Klan got startled, and he tried to shoot a student in the chest that like surprised him. And the students did not like that, so they beat the shit out of that guy. And that would later become part of... This guy didn't end up shooting him. I don't know if it was his gun jammed or he didn't have anything, but he pulled a gun on him, but he didn't shoot him. But later on in the... when there was some legal repercussions from this, a lot of the students brought up, like, hey, they were pointing guns at us.
Yeah, like pulling firearms, and we didn't have any of that on us.
Yeah, but the Klan was arguing, well, they started it.
You started it by showing up in, like, literal Klan's garb. Like,
yeah, you started it by insulting them for the last, 60 years of them being there. I didn't go too much into the end result legal repercussions of it. I'll get into a little bit of it later, but not too much of it. So at the time, there was a Chicago attorney by the name of Patrick O'Donnell that had started a magazine called Tolerance to fight the Klan's anti-Catholic propaganda. So it was kind of like I'm going to break down this propaganda. I'm going to try and expose Klansmen. He would publish lists of known Klansmen out there.
I love that.
Like, just straight up out them. Unfortunately, the Klan found out about this, and started planting fake lists in order to embarrass him and trigger lawsuits.
Of course.
And one unfortunate thing that did come out of this was that it prompted some of the students had these lists, and some of them had fake lists, and so they broke into the barber shop of a guy that was not at all in the Klan that we know of, and just destroyed his entire shop and his equipment and everything.
Oh, that fucking sucks.
And since he wasn't in the Klan after this, the Klan really tried pushing, like, hey, look how violent they are. Yeah, they said that we were their targets, but they're just going after anyone and everyone. Isn't that so violent and un-American that someone can't even have a barbershop business?
Yeah, they were the ones that directed the violence towards other people. Like, if they hadn't put out the fake lists and tried to, like, actively get them to target normal fucking people.
Yeah, they were doing it on purpose to make everybody look bad. Because first, even before this, they had put out the fake lists to mock the Irish attorney and try and get him in trouble for defamation. And now it's resulting in people getting hurt that aren't even a part of this. And then they're using that as furthering their propaganda and spinning it up. But it eventually started to burn out. But it took the chief of police and the sitting president of Notre Dame at the time basically coming out and being like, okay, guys, let's chill it out. This is getting way out of hand. We don't need people dying. We already have people who are injured. And basically just being like, break it up, break it up, break it up. And it kind of fizzled out. And I think it seemed like a lot of the students had gotten out a lot of their frustrations that had been building up against the Klan. They got a lot of that out. And the staff of Notre Dame was at first very embarrassed that this whole situation had even happened. And were worried about all, like, the potato throwing situation and worried that it would further stereotypes of, like, drunken, rowdy Irishmen. And they were doing this for, like, they were concerned for a reason, because immediately afterwards, the Klan started publishing propaganda where they were saying, oh yeah, they killed a bunch of our people for no reason. They killed people that weren't even involved in this. And nobody, from what I could find, nobody died. Nobody died. There were a lot of people that were seriously injured, but the Klan was trying to spin it up and were really playing on the stereotypes of, oh yeah, all these students must have just been drunk and they were rowdy, and you know how those Irish are. Look, they even threw potatoes at a cross. Like, and really working that up. For a while, there was a lot of tension, like underlying tension after this, of wondering if it was going to break out again or not, but nothing really broke out. And the chief of police was like, I don't want this ever to happen again in my town. I'm going to work really hard not to let this happen. But he still deputized 30 known Klansmen. So...
oh, fucking hell.
Yeah. So, and this was after this. He was like, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to get the people that they beat up as police officers. Yeah. Why? There was eventually an agreement that was made of the Klansmen, if they wanted to visibly protest, they had to do it without their garb on. Their Klan's garb. They could not have weapons on them. And the students were like, okay, we won't, if they don't bother us, we won't bother them. And if they don't carry weapons or hang around to try and intimidate us in their pointy little robes, we're not going to beat them up. And that kind of ended up simmering a lot of the tension. Obviously, there was still tension around. And like I had said earlier, this really pushed in the mentality of a lot of this put fear into a lot of Klansmen all over the country that were like, well, this happened here. I don't want this. And they were reading the propaganda of how violent it got, and it kind of worked. The Klan propaganda kind of worked against the Klan, because they became afraid of the stories they were hearing. Like, you know, Klan members in, I don't know, Iowa or whatever are reading papers about how people in Indiana were getting, in their organization, were getting beat up and were getting killed. And they're like, well, I don't want to get killed, so I'm going to sort of go into hiding. And so it really pushed a lot of the, like, upfront Klan activities more back into it. And that's when when the Klan started becoming a lot less visibly vocal and were more behind the scenes with stuff.
I guess this is, like, good to some extent, because maybe their recruiting efforts aren't going to be, like, as good. Like, they're not going to be able to recruit as many people. There's not going to be as many people, like, engaging in that community aspect of the Klan. Like, maybe them being less visible means that less people are going to be members of the Klan.
And you're also not seeing...
it's like, yeah, you don't get to see what they're doing now. Yeah. It's just all, like...
yeah, you can't keep an eye on them, but on the other hand, other people who might support them can't see what they're doing and can't be like, yeah, see, they're out in the open, I'm going to join this.
But it's also
so, like, it's a mixed bag.
Then you don't know, because at least when they're out there wearing the fucking robes all the time, you know who your enemy is. Like, you know who's a piece of shit. But as soon as they, like, stop outwardly admitting that they're part of the Klan, now you don't know who those people are. And sometimes it's not always obvious. So, I don't know. It's, like, I think both good and bad. Because you want to know what they're up to. You want to know who's involved. But you also, like, don't want them to be so visible that other people are, like, attracted to that organization.
Yeah, it's such a tricky thing. So, at the end of all of this, like I said, nobody was seriously hurt. Nobody was ill. It was, like, killed. There were plenty of people that were hurt. And only 8 arrests were made, which is crazy given that there were hundreds of Klansmen and like 500 Notre Dame students.
And which people were arrested? Like, only the students? Was it a mix of both?
It was 6 of the 8 were students.
Okay.
2 of them were not. 2 of them were Klansmen. And 2 of the students were arrested for using profane language. Okay. They were arrested for saying bad words, not kicking somebody in the head. Which is wild. And Father Walsh, the president of the school at the time, he was very disappointed in the students and actually called like a whole school meeting and gave a speech of like, hey, let's not do that. It's making us look bad. And it's just going to increase all of the stereotypes.
Yeah, which it is fair. But at the same time, fuck the fucking KKK. Like, I would want to beat their asses too.
I think what's going to make you look bad and makes people not want to go to your college is if you're a Catholic school and they know that there is violent anti-Catholics in the area, you're not going to get a lot of students. But this, on the bright side, this did really push, because it did inspire other people to stand up to the Klan in Indiana and really push them out.
Good.
And it really started the downhill turn of the Klan in Indiana. They are still there, and it's, shitty people still exist, and they didn't fully drive them out. But it really made people realize how bad it was that, so few Klansmen didn't get arrested because they were, and, a lot of them got off because of all the political power that they had, and people were like, hey, this isn't right, this is corrupt. They're seeding the government with their people. Mm-hmm. And it really led to a good change in politics at the time. So none of the students were, other than the ones that got arrested, none of the students were disciplined. Father Walsh basically was just like, hey, let's not do that again, okay? If you do that again, I will get you in trouble. But it's just like, he was like, I understand why you did this. Let's just not do that again, please. There was actually another rally that was planned by the Klan as like a, what's the term I'm looking, as like a retaliation. They were going to do another rally. It never ended up taking place because of a combination of weather and fear. But the Klan really, really kicked their propaganda into high gear, and were saying that the Klansmen were being all peaceful. They were peacefully protesting, and these people were beating them up and trampling American flags. And one report even said that the students pulled a baby out of a carriage, smacked it across the face, and threw it at its mother.
Oh, whatever.
I know.
Whatever. No fucking way.
Yeah, it's,
oh my God.
but they really leaned into the propaganda. And I'll try and find some of these political cartoons that they had released at the time. But the one Klan newspaper termed these students the Fighting Irish, and it really caught on among other newspapers, and it sort of started as a derogatory name for the school, and Protestant schools that would play football or whatever sport against Notre Dame would like jeer at them and call them the Fighting Irish. But they eventually leaned into it, and in 1927, Father Walsh had authorized the Fighting Irish as Notre Dame's official nickname, and so it became the team's name.
What was their name before that? Do you know?
It was just the Notre Dame football team.
Oh, that's lame. This is way better.
Well, I mean, I don't think there was a cool name. When I was looking into this, I didn't realize that football was like a thing in the 1800s. I don't think about football before like the 1940s. In my brain, it's like anytime before that, it's baseball. And then sports didn't exist before like 1910.
Hey, there are like sports, I mean, since the dawn of time.
I know, but you know, like when I think of sports, I think of like bar sport. You know what I mean? Like what you watch on TV, bar sport stuff. Like it's been around for a while, but I just don't think about that. I did find, in case you're curious, what their mascot was before. Before 1924, it was a bulldog named Mike. After this whole situation, it became an Irish Terrier, also named Mike.
Oh, I love it. They stuck with the animal. Yeah. They still called him Mike.
And then in 1965, it became the leprechaun that we all know now, which I don't know what his name is. I don't care. It's not an animal.
I'm going to be completely honest.
I hope it's Mike.
I wish they would have kept it as the Irish Terrier. Mascot should be an animal.
It was a mythical creature. It was a leprechaun, not an Irishman. I mean, but still.
Fair, but it's the Irish Terrier. I think was a way.
And I like it because when it was an Irish Terrier, it was straight up like an actual live Irish Terrier.
See, that's cute.
And when it was a bulldog, it was an actual bulldog. And then when they would retire it, get a new bulldog. And so they just like released this dog onto the field. Like halftime, they're like, "Go Mike, yeah!"
Because you want something that's still gonna like represent Ireland, but I don't believe in like using, even though like obviously leprechauns are more like a cryptid or folklore or whatever than an actual being, but it's like still like a humanoid type creature.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, it just weirds me out. Oh my god, super fucking problematic. But my high school's mascot was a Native American for like several years, and they had to fucking change it to an eagle that's so fucking racist.
So many racist team names.
It's terrible. Like, don't do that. Pick a fucking animal. Make it a goddamn tree or a plant or the mountains or something. I don't give a shit. Just don't make your mascot a person. Just don't.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Don't do that.
I'm looking up a picture of this dog because he's really cute.
My god, it's fucking adorable.
Look at him. He's got a little outfit and everything.
I'm obsessed with him.
Look at him.
I'm obsessed with him.
Like, look how happy he is.
They really should have kept Mike.
He's got a little hat on and everything.
He's got a football helmet.
He's got a little football helmet and a little cape. And they just, like, released this guy onto the field.
I will say, I do absolutely love... Okay, I just saw the leprechaun mascot. It is actually really, like, the logo is actually really cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Cute, yeah.
It is adorable. I do, and I like the concept of it. I still like the concept of it, and I like that they turned this name that was meant to be derogatory into something that represented them and was a positive term. And also, I think it's, number one, the Fighting Irish is a dope-ass name.
Right.
Number two, I don't understand how it was ever supposed to be derogatory, because, like, the Fighting Irish sounds so cool and uplifting.
I know.
Like, yeah, we fight for what we fucking believe in. I love that.
Yeah, I love it. And I like that it was like, yeah, we don't stand for intolerance, so we're gonna, like, this is gonna be our mascot now. So my grandfather was from Indiana, and he was a huge Notre Dame fan. And so growing up, there was always the little, like, fighting leprechaun all over their house and, like, on their door and stuff. Like, he was a huge Notre Dame fan. And I was always like, why are they called the Fighting Irish? And he was like, I don't know, because they're Irish. I'm like, but it's a French-named school. But anyway, I would like to end my bit here with a quote from Todd Tucker, author of the book Notre Dame versus the Klan, where I got a lot of my research from. The Klan is a very durable American institution. One of the reasons it's durable is because it's adaptable. It doesn't surprise me at all to find them at the front of a mob. Fear of immigrants, fear of change, that we're changing for the worst, and the ability to capitalize on those fears And they've always been really, really effective at that.
Yeah, because that is what those organizations do. They play off of, like, especially during times of economic hardship or war or whatever, any time that people are struggling and afraid of the future, they, instead of pointing to the real issues, they find a scapegoat, and they're really good at playing into people's fear and making it seem like it's some minority group's fault. And unfortunately, I mean, we have fallen for it greatly. Like, a huge part of the U.S. population and a huge part of the world has, I mean, just fallen deep into that trap lately, where we're, like, pitted against each other when that's not the real issue at all.
Yeah, and the pitting people against other people, it's a tactic of people in power to keep people from uniting.
Yeah. From the dawn of fucking time.
From the dawn of time.
Engaged in communities.
It upholds the status quo of, you know, it keeps the people in power, and we're too busy fighting each other to fight the real issues.
Yeah.
But I thought this was, even though it was 102 years ago, I thought it was still very, very topical. And I found this just out of curiosity, looking something up, and I was like, okay, well, I'm writing a whole episode about this because it needs to be talked about. This is why it's important to know history. But it's wild to me that people don't know this story. Like, my whole dad's side of the family is...
It's not wild to me at all.
I mean, yeah, but, like, my dad's whole side of the family is from this area. They've always been Notre Dame fans. And I was talking to my dad about this, and he was like, I have never heard about this in my life. It sounds vaguely familiar, like maybe it was something that I talked about in school as a kid in passing. But he was like, yeah, this is something that I didn't know about. And it's just, because I know a lot of local history can get buried and muddied, and, you know, I probably wouldn't have known about it with a North Carolina public school education, but it's wild that even people 2 towns over don't know about this now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend for anyone who wants to dive more into it, that book from Todd Tucker, Notre Dame versus the Klan. I didn't have time to read all of it. It's available through the Notre Dame library, and you can buy it through the Notre Dame Press or through Amazon. And it's also available on Thrift Books if anybody wants to check that out.
I loved Thrift Books also because, like, I mean, yes, you want to support artists by, like, buying directly from artists, but at the same time, if you don't have the money, Thrift Books is amazing because, like, you seriously have to buy, like, 2 books, and they'll give you, like, a free book reward for, like, a book under $5 or whatever.
It's great, and they have such a great selection of stuff, and I discovered recently that they sell tarot decks.
Hell yeah.
Like, you can just buy tarot decks for them.
I think they also sell, like, college textbooks, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thrift Books fucking saved my ass in college so many times, like, because if I wasn't able to find, like, a PDF, and my dad actually bought a lot of my college textbooks, which was
shout out to your dad.
Amazing, because they're so fucking expensive. But, like, any time that I didn't want to have to spend, like, hundreds of dollars on textbooks, like, Thrift Books, you can get them for so much cheaper. And then when you're done with them, you can sell them back to Thrift Books and get a bunch of your money back. Like, it's very nice. It's
great. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I have for how Notre Dame got its name. Got its nickname, anyway.
I love that. That was a great story. Oh, am I doing the outro now because this was your episode?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. If you liked it, please rate the podcast and share it with the weird people in your life. Follow us on Instagram at whataboutweird.pod, where we often share pictures related to the episodes. We are also on Blue Sky as What About Weird Pod. If you have any topic suggestions or personal weird stories, please DM us or email us at whataboutweirdpod@gmail.com.
And always remember
to ask about the weird.
Bye for now!